Today, we're going to explore one of the most stunning and spectacular planets in our solar system, Saturn. Thank you for watching, and enjoy. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun, and the second largest in our solar system. Saturn is a gas giant, which means it has no solid surface. It is also famous for its spectacular ring system, which is composed of countless chunks of ice and dust, ranging in size from grains of sand to mountains. But there is much more to Saturn than meets the eye. So let's dive in and discover some of its secrets. Compared to Earth, Saturn is a colossal planet with a diameter of about 120,536 kilometers, or 74,898 miles, which is about 9.5 times wider than Earth. Picture Earth as the size of a nickel. At this scale, Saturn would be about as big as a volleyball. But Saturn is also very light for its size, with an average density that is less than water. This means that Saturn could technically float in a body of water if you could find one big enough to hold this behemoth. Saturn's low density also affects its gravity, which is only about 1.08 times that of Earth. So if you weigh 150 pounds or 68 kilograms on Earth, you would weigh about 162 pounds or 73 kilograms on Saturn, assuming you could stand on its clouds. Now, let's take a closer look at Saturn's atmosphere. Saturn has a thick atmosphere, and it's divided into bands of clouds, similar to Jupiter's, but more subtle and pale. The atmosphere here consists of layers, mostly made of hydrogen and helium, like a star, except Saturn doesn't have enough mass to ignite nuclear fusion in its core. Within its thick atmosphere, Saturn has some of the fastest winds in the solar system, reaching speeds of up to 1,800 kilometers per hour, or 1,100 miles per hour near the equator. These winds create storms and vortices, such as the famous hexagon-shaped pattern of clouds around Saturn's North Pole, which is larger than Earth and has persisted for decades. Saturn's atmosphere also produces intense lightning, which is 10,000 times more powerful than Earth's. The conditions here are intense, but what about the temperature of this gas giant? Saturn's temperature varies with altitude, but it is generally very cold, with an average temperature of about -140 degrees Celsius, or -220 degrees Fahrenheit at the cloud tops. However, Saturn radiates more heat than it receives from the Sun because of the gravitational compression of its core and the friction of the circulating fluids in its interior. Saturn's core is thought to be a hot and dense ball of iron, nickel, and rock, surrounded by a thick layer of metallic hydrogen, which acts like a liquid metal and generates a powerful magnetic field. Saturn's magnetic field is about 578 times as powerful as Earth's, and it influences the behavior of charged particles from the Sun in Saturn's vicinity, creating auroras and radiation belts. Now, let's explore how Saturn orbits the Sun. Saturn orbits the Sun at an average distance of 1.4 billion kilometers, or 886 million miles, which is 9.5 times farther than Earth. This means that Saturn receives much less sunlight than Earth and has a very long year, taking about 29.4 Earth years, or 10,756 Earth days, to orbit the Sun. Saturn's orbit is also slightly elliptical, or oval-shaped, which means that its distance from the Sun varies slightly throughout its year. Saturn's axis is tilted by 26.7 degrees, similar to Earth's 23.5 degrees, which means that Saturn also experiences seasons, but they last more than 7 years each. Saturn may take a long time to orbit the Sun, but this giant makes up for it with its rotation speed. Saturn rotates very fast, spinning around once every 10.7 hours, which is the second shortest day of any planet in the solar system, after Jupiter. Because of its rapid rotation and fluid nature, Saturn is not perfectly spherical, but slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator. Saturn's equatorial diameter is about 10% longer than its polar diameter, which is a difference of about 12,000 kilometers, or 7,500 miles. This also affects the gravity on Saturn, which is weaker at the equator than at the poles. Let's take a closer look at this planet's most famous feature. Saturn has the most extensive and complex ring system in the solar system, which consists of 7 main rings and several fainter ones, as well as gaps and divisions between them. The rings are named alphabetically in the order of their discovery, from A to G, with the A, B, and C rings being the brightest and widest, and the D, E, F, and G rings being fainter and narrower. The rings have a diameter of about 273,000 kilometers, or 170,000 miles, which is almost the distance from the Earth to the Moon. The rings are made of countless particles, mostly water ice, but also some dust and rocks that orbit Saturn under the influence of its gravity and the gravity of its moons. The particles range in size from micrometers to the size of mountains, with the smaller ones being more abundant and more reflective. The origin and age of the rings are still uncertain, but some scientists think they are remnants of ancient moons that collided and shattered, or a comet that was captured and torn apart by Saturn's tidal forces. Not only does Saturn have amazing rings, it also has an abundance of moons. Saturn currently has the most moons of any planet in the solar system, with 146 confirmed and named, with more awaiting confirmation and naming. The moons vary in size, shape, composition, and origin, and each one has its own story to tell. Some of the most notable moons are Titan, one of the largest moons in the solar system, which has a thick nitrogen-rich atmosphere and a surface covered with lakes of liquid methane and ethane. Enceladus, a small but active moon that spews jets of water and organic molecules from its south polar region, indicating the presence of a subsurface ocean and the possibility of life. Iapetus, a moon with a striking contrast between its dark and bright hemispheres, which may be caused by the accumulation of dust from another moon. And Mimas, a moon that resembles the Death Star from Star Wars because of its large impact crater called Herschel, which is about a third of this moon's diameter. Some of Saturn's moons also interact with its rings, creating gaps, waves, and other features, such as the braided F ring, which is shaped by a gravitational influence of 2 shepherd moons, Prometheus and Pandora. Saturn is a truly fascinating and beautiful world, full of mysteries and surprises that challenges our imagination and expands our horizons. It is a prime example of the diversity and complexity of the solar system, and a reminder of our place within it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new about this stunning world. If you did, feel free to show your support with a like, or by sharing this video with someone else who may enjoy it. I would also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you would like to see more videos like this in the near future, feel free to subscribe. Thanks again. Until next time, take care and be well.